Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we have a very special topic. We're going to discuss strategies to take care of yourself while you participate in a study abroad program. I'll introduce myself as well as other guests coming to this podcast, and we'll share our special experience going to Normandy area in France as our example. My name is Li. I am a professor from the Communication Studies Department at Bellevue College. In 2023, with other faculty members that you're going to meet in this podcast, we received a grant from the Department of State under the name of Increase of Diversity of Education Abroad for U.S. students. With the funding, we were able to travel to the Normandy area in France to build our collaboration with the University of Caen in Normandy. I'm going to turn the table to the rest of the faculty member who are also here with us today, and then we will begin talk about our experience during our travel. As it turns out that it's quite an adventure and also an interesting journey of self-discovery. So I'll introduce Eva Norling as our next speaker.
Thank you, Lee. My name is Eva Norling. I'm teaching French and German here at Bellevue College, and I participated in this lovely trip to Normandy. And yeah, there are a lot of things to share with anybody who has never traveled abroad, and I hope that this podcast is helpful to some of you or all. And I will pass it on to Bruce.
Thanks, Eva. My name is Bruce Wolcott. I'm an instructor as well at Bellevue College. I teach in the Communication Studies Department. My role in the grant has to do with the media production side of what we'll be doing in France. I currently work as the faculty lead in the XR lab. So I'll turn everything back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, Eva. It was a great experience for all three of us. We have wonderful things to talk about in our other podcast series. Today, however, we want to discuss self care while abroad, as it turns out that we did go through individually our own version of uncertainties and anxieties, and it's our own little adventure as well. We want to share our personal experience just as an example to offer you, our future travelers from Bellevue College. You might be faculty members, you might be students wondering about participating in a study abroad program, but you do not know what that means to you. So let us share our journey and our experience, our own adventures with you. You might be going through something similar or different, but in the end, here's how we cope with those and conquer all of those challenging moments. We will turn the floor back to Bruce and we'll begin to share some of those uncertainties, anxieties, and sometimes even moments of crisis. So, Bruce, it's yours.
Okay, thanks, Lee. First of all, it's been a while since I traveled internationally. I've been used to traveling within the United States, where you can do anything you want and travel wherever you want without having to think too much about it. Traveling overseas is different. And one of the things I needed to think about immediately was getting a passport. The time was running a little bit short, and I plan to get my passport early because without a passport, you can't travel. Also, traveling overseas, you need to be thinking about things like, do you have a converter for certain kinds of equipment that can convert from the electrical system in France to the device that you're using? So I looked into that to get a converter for France to United States style of electrical current for devices. Um, Also, I thought it was important that I make arrangements or find out what the situation was with my bank, if I could use my debit card, if my credit card was going to be useful overseas, any considerations I had there. So I made some connections there to find out details about how I could use my debit and credit card overseas. Same with my phone. I needed to find out, can I use my phone overseas in France? Do I still have connections with people I know here? Those were some of the early considerations I had moving forward. Also, it's important to get your tickets lined up early if you're planning a trip, especially in the summer, which this tour will be. You need to sort of find out, when can you get the best rates at the, when can you travel on time at the best rates. So that's something else that is important to keep in mind. Um, a very important uh, final thing that I wanted to mention is the need to have some understanding of the French language, and knowing enough French to be able to get on with normal daily tasks, buying things at the store, buying food, um, making small talk, saying hi, being courteous and not inflicting English language on French speakers. So those were the main concerns I had, and the trip worked out fine. I was glad that everything was taken care of and went smoothly. So back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Bruce. Oh my gosh, you did so much research. You can write a book about how to travel to the Normandy area upon return. What are the things that you would like to share with students and faculty who are going to travel to Normandy now that you have returned from your first trip? What can be one sentence that you would like to share with them as both your encouragement as well as strategies?
I think the most important thing is to be open to the beauty of France and to be able to appreciate how incredibly well kept France is and how much they respect traditions, and be prepared for a real treat, both in the way things look and the way people dress and the way they prepare food. Uh, it's really a great experience that way.
Thank you, Bruce. I really like what you said about being open to all of those learning possibilities. And I am sure those strategies, doing prior research and taking care of yourself, is laying solid foundations for all of us to fully experience what France has to offer. Well, a bit different from you, the other two members in the team, myself and Eva Norling, and we've traveled to Europe, to France for several times already. I'm going to invite Eva Norling to share her experience and see if getting ready for the unknown or surprises that probably also exist for slightly more savvy travelers like the two of us. So, Eva, whenever you are ready.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce, for reminding me in particular of the struggles that one can encounter or have when you travel abroad. So I would add a little bit to it, which is passports. Of course, if you have a European passport in this case, you will need to use it actually if you have two passports. You have to enter with your European passport and exit with your European passport in a European country. So that's something a lot of people do not know. So check both of your passports. That's what I'm saying with that. And then also, I would say that your adapters, you cannot bring a curling iron or something. That would require so much heat that any of your little adapters are really not set up for that. That gets me to a bigger, broader thing, which is what to pack and how to travel light. Over the many years that I've been traveling, and I mostly traveled with my children where I had big luggage, you really do want to travel lightly with small luggage. So it requires a little bit of thinking as to what do you really need. And I would integrate into that, whether it's clothing or any other item, things that really make you feel good, where you feel like you're at home, because you're going to encounter inevitably a lot of situations, a lot of moments where you feel you need that little almost security blanket around you. Um, so keep that in mind as you're developing a list. I am someone who creates lists just for that reason, to see what can go, what needs to stay, to have everything lined up, and to weigh later on how important something is. So I always bring my phone, but I may not bring my computer, but it really all depends on you and what you do with your phone. So I do some things with my computer and do some things with my phone. So in that case, then I would bring both. Um, I would also think about having a little bit of cash, euros, available to you, because in Europe, not everybody takes credit cards, or sometimes it's a hassle, actually. We're so used here in the US to use our credit cards. It's good to have some cash on hand when you buy maybe a little, either a baguette or a croissant in a bakery. I loved what Bruce said about the courtesy and learning a little bit of language. And I don't want anybody to freak out. French people do speak English, they prefer to speak French, but little phrases like pardonnez-moi will get you a long way. And saying bonjour when you walk into a store, and saying au revoir and pardonnez-moi, again, a good one to use before you jump in with your English, possibly because maybe you don't know enough French. That opens a door. So don't ever feel like you cannot get your questions answered. Just starting with something like that will really open the door for you. And none of us can do it on our own. So this group, actually, Lee, myself, and Bruce, are a good example. And I felt reminded of that as we were traveling. We each had to give something and contributed in our own way that really made this trip successful. So my big advice would be not to be too worried. We all are worried of the unknown. It's inevitable, but to also trust that you're surrounded by people who will help you, and don't hesitate to ask and for help, or ask questions as well. And you should have, as Bruce was saying, even I, who has traveled a lot to France, um, we had a lovely trip, and all those memories and encounters and experiences are going to really um, be exhilarating and giving you energy that your worries are falling off. So just enjoy that process.
Thank you, Eva. I really like what you said, that the trip in the end produced lots of memories for the years to come. And I echo that statement tremendously, because that is the case with our trip together to the Normandy area, with the university there, and with our site inspections to a variety of key destinations. I feel the trip is really rewarding because we went through some surprises, but in the end, we coped with that pretty successfully. We have each other to support. We have each other's support, but at the same time, we also did prior research, and we articulated our concerns whenever there are some, and we support each other that way. We're each other's listeners. We also acknowledge and embraced our own moment of anxiety. So here's our message to all of you, whether you are faculty, staff, or a student considering an upcoming trip. Just acknowledge whenever you are going through difficult moments and you perhaps miss home and you have a moment of surprise and you did not know how to cope with the sudden change that you weren't aware of previously. You do not speak the local language, and there could be a long list of challenges. But the first thing we want to share with you is to know that this may happen to anybody. To savvy travelers or to people who are new to the traveling experience, this may happen at any turn of the street corner. Let's embrace it, and let's find out a way to cope with that. And it turns out that we already have some coping mechanisms in place. We have surprises, even when you are here study on Bellevue
Yeah.
College campus, go through a day to day, and you actually have some tricks and techniques and strategies, and you just didn't aware that they can be easily translated into a technique or a trick while you are abroad. We worked with Bellevue College Counseling Center to come up with a list of coping mechanisms that we're happy to share with all of you. We also designed the Normandy program with your travel anxiety on our mind. You will spend 10 days prior to the trip at Bellevue College to form a small group and to get to know each other well and to get to know the three of us well. And then we will travel to France as a group. It's a tightly structured experience. Every day we'll have a lot of things to do together. We'll move around as a group, while at the same time, you also have plenty of opportunities interacting with local people. So I hope that this short program experience it will be your introduction to the travel and the learning abroad, and can get your foot into the door in a quick, easy, and safe way. We hope you can join us, and if you need any application details, and you can reach out to me. With that, we are ending today's podcast, and once again, we're thrilled that you're here uh, to spend your time with us. We appreciate your attention, and we look forward to traveling with you very soon. Goodbye.
Au revoir.
Bye bye.